welcome. I'm Christine. Oh, I finally finished my coffee bar. I'm so excited. So here I'm just running through some measurements. I'm going to be hanging the crown molding there, fitting that back in. So I'm just running through some measurements. I had an 8 foot piece. I'm going to have to piece it, but I'm just going to piece it with a straight edge. And then what I did was I kind of tacked up a little finishing nail to help hold since I was doing this by myself. But I'm just going to run through these measurements and then I'm taking you to my garage and then I'm going to explain how I am cutting this crown molding. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you haven't watched the first part, I'm going to try to link it. But please watch that first so that this makes sense. Appreciate you guys. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. I've got the shop fan on, so it's loud, but it's very hot, so I've got to circulate some air, and if I turned the air conditioner on in the garage, it wouldn't have time to cool down. So I hope you can hear me, but we're gonna cut this new piece of molding that we have. And this is our old one that we're going by. And just remember that you just want to make sure you've got the right side as your top, and the rounded piece is my top. So this is just a plain, this is just your simple piece of crown molding, okay? Nothing fancy here. There's different styles, so I'm just going with just a simple piece because that's what's in my kitchen, and it matches what was around my cabinets because I've got that soffit area. This is the side that we've got to do this angle to get to fit into that corner, okay? So you're cutting this at 45, but what you got to do is you flip it upside down. Okay, so this is how you cut crown molding. You got to flip it upside down. For whatever reason, that's the way you cut it. You flip it upside down, then you're going to bed it. And what I mean by that is, you see this little piece here? I don't know if you can tell. I've got to be careful. The nails are still in here. But here's the flat piece, and on each side you've got this little edge going up, okay? So this is called the bed, and you've got to bed this up against your saw, and then when you hang it on the wall, you're going to bed it up against the wall too, okay? So what that does is that gives you that tilt. So this crown molding doesn't sit flat, it does a little tilt up against your wall. And you'll line it up with the other ones unless you're just starting it, but you're going to bed it. So this one edge goes flat up against your wall, your bottom part, and then the other's going to sit on your adjoining piece of wall. If that makes sense. Well, your ceiling. I will show you that. Anyhow, so I've got to turn it upside down. It's going to take the whole 8-foot piece that I have. I probably should have gotten a 12. I'm probably going to have to cut another piece to butt up against it, but I think that edge I can just do a flat edge. I'm going to have to look at that and make sure. But I've got my piece over here, so I'm just going to take it to my saw, and that's my miter saw, my compound saw, and then we're going to cut this, y'all, okay? So we've got this right here. So what we're going to do is keep this going this way, so you can see this. So you're going to 45 it that way, okay? So you got the measurements here on the saw, and on mine, you just push this down and then you turn your saw, okay? To make sure this is right, we're just going to look at this piece. Now, it's important you got your piece straight, so I'm going to have to jiggle my saw around a little bit. I have another saw over here, so I'm just using that for my pressure. And then this is what I'm talking about bedding. You want it to sit flat on this bottom of the saw. This is how it's going to sit on the wall. This is how you're going to cut it, okay? So this side sits down on the saw. This side sits flat on the back of your saw. It's important to have it like that. You can't cut it like this. It's not going to cut right. Usually a board you're going to hold flat up against the back of your saw. That's not what you're doing with crown molding, okay? You're going to bed it. I'm going to cut this fan off. I'm going to suffer with you guys for a minute just to make sure you guys hear this, okay? I'm not an expert at crown mold, but I'm just going to tell you this is what we do. So you're going to bed it, okay? This little piece here that I told you is the little edge. Sit that where it's flat, sit this where it's flat, and then that's how you cut it. So I'm just going to come and I'm not close up with my camera, but kind of show you guys. See, that matches my cut. That's exactly what I want, and then this will fit into my corner. So all I'm going to do on my new piece, remember the top goes down bottom, so my round part is going to go down bottom. I'm grabbing my new piece, and since my wall is longer than the 8 foot, I'm going to take off as little as possible. Now the important part is this needs to sit level. Okay, that's the important part, and you got to bed it. So I'm not going to be able to come all the way completely over because I'm not going to be able to hold this, okay? So I'm going to have to take off a little bit more than what I really want to take, but I don't want to endanger myself. I'm going to cut it here, okay? So that just gives me a piece, but that lets me hold it correctly. It is bedded. Okay, you guys, this is our cut. This should fit perfectly on our wall. Let's go try to install it, okay? I got to get my nail gun out. I hope that made sense to you guys. That's cutting the inside corners. My husband did come back and we had to do some touch up around the counter, the cabinets where that soffit is. Oh gosh, I really want to take that down one day. Because I was getting so used to cutting these inside corners, I was forgetting how to cut the outside corners. But anyhow, I'm using just my little brad nailer. I love this thing. I keep this in my craft room. This is what I use all the time. It's got plenty of power to do projects like this. As long as you're going into sheetrock or wood, it works great. If you're going into metal, you better use a corded actual nailer there, so it's not going to work, but it works great for these projects. It's a battery operated. It's light enough for me to handle. I could do it one-handed and no problem. So I'm just going to put a few nails in. I will come back and tack it up where it looks like it's just not joining good and it's kind of sagging, but I don't want to put too many. Do want to come back and touch up paint those areas, caulk real well. Caulking is everything. That's what makes your projects look so finished, is caulking. So do come back and caulk. I make a mess with it, but I really make a pretty bead of caulk too. But I do make a mess. I get it all over the place. Just make sure you got plenty of paper towels, wipes, or whatever. But I'm just using just a plain simple crown molding from Lowe's. You can certainly dress this up. You can add pieces to it. My ceilings are low because I have a 1970s ranch home. So the ceilings aren't very high. So I don't want anything bulky at the top because then that's going to feel like the ceiling's caving down on you. If you have higher ceilings, you can definitely get away with some gorgeous thick molding. And now I see a lot of people just using straight boards for crown molding as well, and the baseboards, and I think that looks really nice, but I don't think that's the feel of my home either. So whatever style you want to go with. If you're using the regular crown molding though, just make sure, like I said, you are bedding that in there. It makes a slant, but it's going to sit in straight to the wall, straight to the ceiling. These are those little pieces I had taken off that's just molding for those corners. This corner mold, it's made for this. I'm simply going to add these back in. I didn't have to cut or anything because those were the exact same. Now, since I had redone that area, the coffee bar itself was looking a little drab. It had lots of nicks and dings in it, and it really did not have a protective finish on it. So I am coming in and restaining it. So I just sanded it down lightly. Like I said, it did not have a heavy coat of polyurethane or shellac on it. So I just sanded it down real good. I patched up some nicks and dings, let that dry, come back and sand that. Wiped all of it down real good to get the dust off so I have a clean surface. I am taping up what I do not want to stain. So prep work is always what you want to make sure you do real well and take your time with, is prep work with anything. So once everything's ready, y'all know, if you've watched my channel before, my method of staining is I like to use a glove and then one of my husband's socks. It's the socks that come up the calf, so it's the longer sock. I feel like I have a lot more control with that, and I don't have to wipe the stain on and come back and wipe the stain off, because the sock is absorbent and it will let you have more control of the stain. So keep that in mind, and you might want to try that and let me know if you try it how you do like it. But that's how I do all of my project staining. I picked an ebony color, but I did not put on heavy coats. I did two, and it's still, I'm showing some of that good wood grain through there, and I really like it. It matches my floors very well, and I like it. Now, we had talked about a protective top before. My husband just went to Lowe's, and they have plexiglass, and they will cut that down for you. So he had it measured. He cut it down, but left it just big enough so it will go over the edges, so that your coffee or water or whatever does not get up underneath it. That makes it a lot easier to clean. He grounds his coffee from coffee beans, so I don't want anything to scratch my surface, so that is going to protect my surface nicely. So after I get through staining, I'm just going to simply put this back and then do up some more finish work. Like I said, he did the trim work around the top edges for me. I did all the touch-up painting that I had to do. And y'all, finally this project is finished. I love it. We had some cedar wood that we had gotten from one of his cousins. I've used it for a couple projects in the past. But I had him cut down some pieces to make some open shelving. And I just got some simple brackets from Lowe's and put those on there. I hung those up on the wall just to put our necessary products on those shelving. And then the coffee bar itself is going to hold my coffees, my teas, extra sugar, my creamers, what have you. But y'all, I'm so glad this project is finished. Let me know how you like it. And again, if you've not watched the first one, that you gotta watch that one to see what's going on here and where we came from. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.